Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Grays, coming to you on the 7th of June, 21. Time on deck, 23:49 hours Central Daylight Time. Yes, the waning moments of the day. So this video will be posted sometime during the day on the 8th, later. Now, Xi Jinping has failed China. Xi Jinping is a failure. I'm going to illustrate why I deem him to be a failure to the people of China and to the world. Furthermore, this is a continuation of my open letter. So I will say unto the people of China, woe unto the inhabitants of the Middle Kingdom, for thine emperor hath failed thee. He will bring upon thee great weeping and gnashing of teeth. And if you long suffer him as your emperor, these will only be the beginnings of sorrows. So take that. Now, I'll bring you these messages as part of my Eyes Wide Open and Head on a Swivel series, because it is a proposition this channel to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. Xi Jinping represents the ultimate hive, but it shall not survive nor thrive, because he has already got the gnashing of teeth, the weeping. It's already coming. But as I mentioned, if he stays in power, it will only be the beginning of sorrows. Now, what you need to know as followers on my channel is that we do live in most perilous times. And there are those that are predicting right now that the probabilities of an open war between China and the United States are increasing. Very much so, just recently. And I'll show you some of that. Well, let's hope that it don't happen. Let's pray and hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And if something happens like this, you can expect things like our grid to go down. You can expect supply chains to break, because everything would go into a military effort. The best thing is victory gardens, just like in WW2, victory gardens. You need them anyway, because food prices are going to be going up, and there's climatic issues ahead. So think about that. Think about all these things I've been talking about here. You need to be growing your own food. You also need to prepare in every other way you can. I do videos on how to eat free from the weeds and the trees on this channel. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, bang the notification bell and click all. But also, it takes time to get all those things set up. In the meantime, you need to store as much food as you can if you can afford it. Then I have a special deal to help you afford it. Right now, you can get $300 off a 3-month supply of 25-year long lasting food. Actually, it'll last longer than that, but it's rated at 25 years, according to the supplier, which is my Patriot Supply. Go to prepwithgreg.com to get that special deal. You find that deal at prepwithgreg.com. 3 months is 6 of these buckets. You can get 2 of these buckets, which is a month's supply or 4-week supply, for $50 off. You can see it's a much better deal to go 3 months if you can afford it. Now, this has got breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 2,000 calories a day with drinks and desserts. It'll make you a winner. So check it out. And you can also check out the logo for my Patriot Supply on the prepwithgreg.com page. And you will find, you can go and find all kind of prepping supplies in there. Stuff that you may really need with things coming up upon us. So check that out. Now we're going to get into this. I'm going to talk about this from guys, China's current leadership, to include the CCP, not just Xi Jinping, but the CCP has painted the nation into a corner that is turning into a pariah. This wolf warrior stance they've been taking, all the bellicose they've been making about Taiwan, has got them painted into that corner. They almost can't even back out now, because they've incited a nationalistic fervor amongst some of the people in China. This does not mean that all the people in China support that, but it's enough that it puts pressure on them to keep that train rolling. And that's why some people think that we are in an inevitable clash. That and some of the things happening here in the West too. That this clash may be inevitable. Let's hope not, because that clash could leave smoke and runs. Smoke and runs. You know, guys, and hey, you in China, you need to think about this. You may be happy, your economy is booming, you seem to be invincible. The world seems to be quivering at you. You're feeling your Wheaties. So was Germany in the last days of August. maybe even the first day of September when they were taking Poland in 1939. But, you know, it wasn't just a few years later, 5 years later, and the nation lay in smoking ruins. That could happen again, except this time the nation that gave those guys a Marshall Plan may also be in smoking ruins. So don't expect no Marshall Plan to bail you out. It's not coming. In fact, what you can expect is your neighbors, having been so unhappy with your bellicose ways and bullying, may just come in and police up the remainder of you. No, it might not be very pretty. So you might really consider where y'all are pushing and really consider if it's worth suffering through the leadership of your current emperor. I'm referring to him as an emperor because in that sense, in the old world ways of looking at things, it's not that far divergent. Okay. I'll show you some articles here to underscore the kind of things I'm talking about. Don't have to be this way, guys. It don't have to be this way. Well, let me do a little share here. Bing, 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 bing. Now you can see how some of this bellicose actions are backfiring. For example, China saying that when it put sanctions on Australia for such things as asking where the bug come from, that Australia would just knuckle under. Instead, Australia dug in their feet. Whoa, what is this? What are we dealing with here? You're our main trading partner, and this is where you treat us. Maybe we need to trade. And how do you act? And, you know, you're not the most savory nation in the world. And they start looking at you a lot harder. And they go, now, well, guess what? Australia's finding other trading partners, and they seem to be doing pretty well with it. They find other outlets to sell their goods. In the meantime, what's happening to you? You are dealing with power outages and less wine and lobster. You're just not getting the iron ore, the coal that you were getting from Australia. It's going elsewhere. So, you know, that's what this article here is saying. Australia is selling through relatively unscathed. You see that? Relatively unscathed. From a longer term strategic viewpoint, the fury that has been directed our way from China could be a blessing in disguise. The Australians have said, yay, wow, this is working out. This is awesome. And we're not beholden to some dictator. Isn't that amazing? See, this is backfiring. Xi Jinping is backfiring for you. This is just one case. Here they're talking about the guys in the Philippines who said such, yeah, some of the people in the Philippines are somewhat less than absolutely thrilled with what's going on down here. Maybe some people in China aren't aware of this. This 9-dash line has got a lot of the neighbors around here. And a state, oh yeah, Malaysia. You guys just sent some aircraft down to Malaysia. And guess what? Now America's back in Malaysia. So Malaysia is falling more into our account. How about that? Oh, there it is. There it is. Last week, 16 Chinese military aircraft flew into Malaysian airspace, prompting the Royal Malaysian Air Force to scramble halt fighter jets. Well, the United States is now backing them up in some other articles I'm seeing. So, guys, it's just not working out. The whole story about new markets. So this goes on. So it talks about how Australia is doing. It goes, meanwhile, back in the Politburo, things are looking grim. No power, no lobster. I don't know what grange is. Whose idea was this anyway? Oh yeah, Xi Jinping, right? That's not the only area that Xi Jinping's policies are backfiring. We're going to look at some more of that. We will see some more of this if these articles can come through. Let me close down this and go. Choking my memory up here. There we go. Here we go. Look at this, my friends. You know, the wolf warrior stance. Oh, we can't allow any military aircraft from other nations, the Western Allied, and the United States to come into Taiwan. This will be overt act of war, and we'll have to respond. And now you've let a military aircraft, a C-17, with 3 U.S. senators land in Taipei, Taiwan, at the airstrip there. All these people photographing it coming in. And you have it said diddle. It's crickets, but your nationalists at home are going, ah, what's going on? And you're having to deal with that. Interesting. See, you couldn't back your mouth up. China's muted reaction to U.S. military flight to Taiwan prompted criticism from nationalist online, underscoring pressures on President Xi Jinping and to follow on through with his red line rhetoric. He painted a red line in the sand and he shut his mouth, apparently. Well, Xi Jinping realized that, he knows that there's a whole lot of risk in confronting the United States. He may go for it, yet he wasn't ready then. See what happens when you start painting red lines? You start your wolf warrior stance. Oh yeah, salami, slice, and move. Continuously pressing your red line. Like they were doing. And where does that salami slicing word come from? It comes from how China was reacting in the Himalayas, for example, against India. Now they're using it in this case. Interesting. Ambiguous red lines. Oh, those are the worst kind. Your daily incursions, talk about how China's been flying all kinds of incursions into Taiwan airspace. I don't know, some other pictures down at the bottom of that. So there you go. This is an article from Bloomersburgers. That's what I call Bloomersburgers. So there you go. So you thought you'd get the United States to back off by all your rhetoric? And what are we doing? You thought you'd isolate Taiwan. 2 or 3 years ago, you might have taken Taiwan. But now suddenly countries are lining up to defend Taiwan, to closen ties with them, to build stronger ties with Taiwan. It's backfired. Xi Jinping's policies have backfired. They're failing. Xi Jinping is a failure. Yeah, it's crazy, said, but the big dictator in the world, he's got all kind of people over here, right? Yeah. Now look here. Faced with widespread international criticism over China's approach to issues, President Xi Jinping this week said, China must improve the way it tells stories. See, what's this about? Maybe Xi Jinping listened to my open letter to the Chinese people. And so, we got to change our ways. We want to make China more lovable around the world. Well, you know what? Problem is, it's all window dressing and a little bit of wallpaper. A little bit of wallpaper over your mud, over your walls of mud and bricks, making people think you've got walls of mortar and bricks instead of mud and sticks. That's what I meant, mud and sticks. Because what you said is that China must improve the way it tells stories to its global audience and seeks international voice. So what Xi Jinping has actually said is China must change the way it tells its stories, not what it does, not how it acts. And it's done nothing since to change how it acts. It's just trying to modify how it tells its stories. We must pay attention to grasp the tone, to be open and confident, but also modest and humble. Strive to create a credible, lovable, respectable image of China as we stab you in the back. Smile in the face before you stab them in the back. That way they respect you. Is that what we're saying? So moving away from the wolf warrior diplomacy, the problem is they've not done anything to move away from it. And that has prompted another article, which is very, very interesting over here. I'm going to kill this one. Bang. Some memory's been made up here. Need to free some memory. My memory's so chock full I can't even kill an article. All right, here we go. This author is far less congratulatory to China's new stance. Xi's change of heart is too late to stop China's collision with the West. This guy says it's war. He's saying the war is inevitable, unavoidable. It's too late to halt the slide toward an all-out confrontation between China. Oh, is it too late to halt the slide towards all-out confrontation with China and Western democracies? Well, this article reads, he is thinking it's too late. He's talking about the conciliatory speech, changing the tone, but he goes on here about how things are the same. know, Xi's never been put to vote. And he's talking about all the propaganda aspects of this. He said, extensive, state-directed, under-the-radar schemes, well, I wish it would highlight that, to tell China's story and expand its influence are in any case already in train, according to the National Endowment of Democracy in Washington. Over the past decade, CCP has overseen a dramatic expansion of efforts to shape media content around the world. No kidding. Propaganda, censorship. We've seen all that. We've seen how they affect social media and how they bought into so many media companies. And more recently, as around this 1989 Tiananmen Square incident, as they call it, which they call it incident of June the 4th, but you know, what did I call it? Yeah, massacre. So Xi cannot airbrush it away. Lovable it ain't, he says. Okay, but you could say it's in the past, but it's the current thing. All around China's borders, from India to South Korea to Malaysia and the Philippines and Australia, a grim story of intimidation, impunity, integration is unfolded, as opposed to the confected made in Beijing narrative of neighborly coexistence. Yeah, like how they're treating the Uyghurs, how they're treating the Tibetans. No, it's not changing. They're digging in and making it more so. Xi may not be able to alter, of course, even if he wants to. Now, this is what is telling. Maybe if Xi just suddenly had a big change of heart. Man, I got to be a more lovable guy. I haven't been horrible, you know, which I doubt he's really thinking that. But if he was, for almost a decade, he has unleashed a wave after wave of what analyst Salman Wasif Khan calls a belligerent nationalism, political, economic, and military. He wrote, China has poisoned itself through its own rhetoric. As the U.S. discovered that Donald Trump, you know, they're also blaming Donald Trump for doing the same thing here, but you know, they always got to take a stab at Trump. A reckoning is due. It says that Biden is stuck to the predecessor's tough line. Well, some people don't buy that either, but we'll see. We will see. Biden's action is legitimate. He's talking about punitive actions from China. Biden, some people are calling for a lot more. I'm going to show you that too. It says Xi is making nice as the CCP prepares to mark its centenary next month, but it won't last because nothing has fundamentally changed. Attitudes in the West are hardening, and Xi is not afraid of a fight. Now, see, this is what it really boils down to. Attitudes in the West are hardening, and Xi is not afraid of a fight. However he spends it, the slide toward confrontation appears inexorable. According to this author, it's bang, bang. It's boom time. Big booms. All right, so kill this one. I free some memory. My memory's been ate up by these articles. I got too many tabs open. There we go. Well, guess what? People are now saying that Biden needs to call for Beijing to make reparations, payments, or something to the United States. Biden needs to make China pay for its actions over that bug going around. According to this writer, Betsy McCauley in the New York Post. So she is making a case that he needs to push it. Will he? Some people think he is really just paying lip service to it and won't do it. I think maybe even she refers to that in here. So let's find another example. She's saying Biden needs to do it. Well, Blinken, the Secretary of State, seems to be indicating they will. It's a funny name for Secretary of State, Blinken. Let's hope he's not blinking too much at him when he talks to them. Secretary of State Blinken vows the U.S. will hold China accountable. Really? How much for? And what way? But you see, this is what I'm talking about, you guys of the Middle Kingdom. You're already going to be paying some fashion. There's going to be some wailing, weeping, and gnashing of teeth. As I said, those are all the beginnings of woes. Go back to that article where the guy says it's inevitable. Wait, well, if nobody was present and we all promised real, there we go. That's what we'd all like. Get rid of all these crazy world leaders. So Greg, the United States is just about here in every video I put out. Okay. Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind getting rid of all these world leaders. So let's kill that article. We'll save the ones with the pretty pictures. China must pay. Well, guess what? Trump has put a price tag on it. He says China must pay $10 trillion. $10 trillion. This man might be president again in, you know, another 4 years. He might be sitting in the Oval Office. Some people, no way. Well, you know what? Don't count him out yet, buddy. He might be there. Or somebody else might be sitting there with the same attitude. It may not be him, maybe somebody else. The same attitude. $10 trillion. Now, are we going to collect $10 trillion from China? Probably, well, I don't know. Probably not, I'd say. So what does that mean? What does that mean? I'll kill that tab. Assume it'll let me. Now, $10 trillion. I just mentioned in the previous video. What is most likely is that people just nationalize all Chinese assets in the United States. Money, bank accounts, land that they bought, companies, factories, theaters, all this stuff China's bought and invested in over here, land, including all the land that they're buying next to U.S. military bases, and like that 10,000-foot airfield they're putting in next to one of our military bases in the Southwest. Why you put a 10,000-foot airfield in? For military cargo planes. Why is China doing that? What? We're letting them do that. We should take those things. And I just covered an article not too long ago talking about how China intended to take over the United States basically by having investment in every congressional district and having so-called jobs by putting their hands in the pocket of every U.S. congressman. They thought they'd take over our entire Congress. Of course, if you nationalize all their assets here, you take that away from them. They can't take over our Congress. That's all the more reason to do it, since that was their plan. Seize their assets, then sell them to American bidders, of course. It should be exclusively Americans that get to bid on it. And the proceeds from that should go toward paying off the national debt. Now, it won't pay off the national debt, but it should help a little bit. Every little bit helps. So there you go. That's how the United States, oh yeah, we should absolve ourselves of any debt to China also in the meantime. Absolve ourselves of any debt, seize their assets in the United States, and sell them. The highest bidder, domestic bidder. That's how to do it. You'll make sure the Chinese don't buy them back. Yeah, that might be a way of paying for their debts if they bought them back, but they can't keep their hands in the cookie jar and pockets of every congressman. We don't need that. We don't need that, especially since that was our policy. So there we go. That's how to do it. But then it comes down to this potential hot spot with Taiwan again. And it just so happens now, this is the South China Morning Post. I've looked at many free articles they'll let me look at, so they're kind of whiting me out down here. But what they were talking about here was the prospects of, of Japan coming to the defense of Taiwan. When I read it on my phone, that's what this article read. That about Japanese Foreign Minister Joseph Wu, live stream from Tokyo Thursday, who said Taiwan did not anticipate a military conflict anytime soon, but whether it would happen or not next 2 years, the key element will be preparation. Defending Taiwan is our own responsibility. But what this article was going into is the prospects that Japan, who has a pacifist constitution, would step up and attack invading fleets, naval fleets from China, attacking Taiwan. Would that happen? Well, I don't know, but this is what some people in Japan are thinking about already, because they're thinking, if Taiwan goes, we're next. Australia has the same attitude. If Taiwan goes, we may be next. Who else has that attitude? Whole area? You know, like I said, if China decided to take Taiwan 2 years ago, they might have took it. But now everybody's woke up. Everybody is hypersensitive. Nobody's trusting China anymore. China has used its goodwill as far as it could. China baited the world with greed. Oh yeah, come here, you got infinite markets and you can get your goods produced for nothing. So it was double greed. But that's breaking down now. Everybody but Apple's bailing. Now we should boycott Apple. China's paper says U.S. should learn from China to oh yeah, wait a minute before we get there. There's two articles. I must have knocked one out. Yeah, there was another article. I don't see where it went, but it was about the United States military talking about, I deleted it accidentally, I suppose, talking about the prospects of defending China, Taiwan. And they're really committing some serious plans for how they would defend Taiwan. Not to say they will, because they won't come out and say they will, but the planning that is put in force is highly suggestive the United States will stand up for Taiwan. So, like the other writer wrote earlier, the clash may be inevitable. And what does that clash turn into? Fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone. So people in the Middle Kingdom, I warn you, fire and brimstone might come your way. It may be fire and brimstone. You don't want that. Another good reason to get rid of the emperor of the Middle Kingdom. What can you do? Take Taiwan's offer and open up for freedom. Create a democratic institution there, a republic, just like the Republic of China. Take the Constitution of the Republic of China, which Americans know as Taiwan, and operate therein. That's how you do it. And who knows? Then you might reunite with Taiwan once the Taiwanese are convinced that you're really serious about it. It might take a generation. Taiwanese are Chinese, by the way, also. There's two Chinas. Look, I always say there's good and bad people in every village, hamlet, nation of the world. From every race, creed, and color. Good people who give you their shirts, smart people. But, you know, it's these leaderships that we have to worry about. In this case, it's the Chinese Communist Party. So this is not an anti-Chinese message, not by any shape or form or fashion, because I'm appealing to people of China to set a new course for their future, which could be bright. Right now, you become the pariah of the world. You went from being the nation that people were going ooh and ah at to becoming the pariah of the world, the pariah of the world. You can turn that around, especially if you became if y'all got rid of the CCP and adopted a constitution like that of the ROC, Republic of China, people really would be going, and guess what? Your economy would take off like never before. I mean, look, the difference in socialist economies like Venezuela, which has more petroleum than any other nation on earth and is poor, abject poor, or a nation like Singapore, who has no natural resources and the economy is booming. It's a difference in systems. Yeah, you were somewhat booming there because some capitalistic efforts have been allowed there, but it's nothing compared to where you could be. You could have been so far ahead. Look at Taiwan and Hong Kong, where they were heading. You could have been way ahead of all that. Oh, well. Well, look at this guy. So, we got Mike Adams. Mike Adams has been warning us and saying that Chinese are planning to invade America. He thinks this year. He thinks they'll be coming into, he thinks they'll be invading into the southwestern states, Texas, California, Arizona, New Mexico. Admiral Yamamoto is attributed to having said, and there's some dispute over it, a quote about, how no nation could invade of America because there's going to be something hiding behind every blade of grass. You might not have much grass in the Southwest, but there's going to be something hiding behind every little leaf of prickly pear cactus, behind every barrel cactus and rock. You're not going to get far. Even if you took out the U.S. military, if they didn't come, if they just threw the border open and let y'all in, you're not going to get far. Besides that, your country will be smoking glass runs if y'all take on the United States at that level. So don't even dream of it. Don't even dream of it. You war hawks over there. It won't go that way. You can have a great life. You have a prosperous life. You can have a China that the whole world would be proud of, and it would boom and have China could have an unlimited prosperous future, but not the way it's going now. The whole world could be shaken the way things are going now. So let's hope that things can be turned around. Let's hope that this one, but if China weren't believing that, why was Xi Jinping pushing this agenda right here? This agenda right here. And what business China likes to get on the United States about getting in their, meddling in their affairs, especially when it comes to trying to help ensure that the independence of the independent free nation of Taiwan, which is a government that pre-existed the People's Republic of China. The Republic of China was a pre-existing republic, and the People's Republic of China were the insurrectionists that ran them out of the country into exile on the island of Formosa that we know as Taiwan. So Taiwan, the Republic of China, and people there were never under the control, authority, or leadership of the Chinese Communist Party or the People's Republic of China. So it's not a breakaway province at all. It's an independent nation. It is the original China. It is China. The PRC, the People's Republic of China, is the insurgency. So the insurgency wants to tell us how to live our lives here in America. And they're so concerned about this in the United States. Of course, if they had more of this in China, maybe the Uyghurs wouldn't be so bad off. Maybe the Tibetans wouldn't be so bad off. Maybe the people in China really would have human rights, because they certainly don't seem to enjoy much of that today. But there's other ways to resist China. Remember Tank Man? Something that everybody's trying to hide now. Yeah, don't forget Tank Man. He is China's symbol of resilience, of resistance. It's a beautiful scene. One person holding up an entire battalion of tanks. Very beautiful scene. Let's stop the share. That was a beautiful scene. One man holding off all those tanks. So the people in the United States, we have to keep up our defenses as long as there's leadership in the world that threaten us to make these kind of moves or acting bellicose. It's a shame that we have to deal with such things. Some people think the answer is a great reset. Then you got a global oligarchy that's going to be even worse. It might be headed up by Xi Jinping. They certainly like their flavor of control. But right now we're heading towards something else. We're heading toward a conflagration if we're not careful. So prep, get ready. Go to prepwithgreg.com and stock up. Buy your seeds. I got links to True Leaf Market. Hey, all my videos. I get seeds from True Leaf Market. Check out my link in there. Planting microgreen seeds. I'm planting garden seeds. Great source for your own garden, I tell you that. Flee from the weeds and the trees. We don't have to have a conflict. But know this, if we do, look into my crystal ball. What I'll guarantee you is all flesh shall burn. Especially in the PRC. So you got a lot of nukes in this country, and you don't want to see them, and I don't want to see them. I'm hoping it don't happen. It's not a pretty picture. Do all flesh to burn? I hope not. Just keep the skies blue, not burning for me and you. You find peace. The peace don't come from wolf warriors. Peace comes from conciliatory actions, not in bellicose actions. Stepping down. Why you got to push all your neighbors around? Why you got to send their fishing fleets to Argentine waters and steal their fish? Still intellectual rights and property rights all over the place. You've got plenty of capacity there in your country that you can do amazing things. I'm going to do some videos about how we need to not be industrially hunting our oceans with big trawler nets, how that's going to be a disaster, how we can actually raise fish in a far more productive manner to feed the world far better than this industrial trawling operations we're involved in today. I'm going to talk about that in the near future, but and many other things. That's it. Now subscribe to my channel, subscribe, bang that notification bell, and click all. But bear in mind, this don't have to happen. But if the course isn't changed, we're heading for a collision. Let's hope we can change this course. Nobody wants to be run over. But the prospects of the collision are the worst thing you can imagine in this world today. And many innocents in the world would suffer, not just in the United States and China. Nuclear winter would put the whole world into a grave suffering mode. It would be very bleak worldwide. What rights do we have in the United States and China to make innocent people worldwide freeze to death, starve to death, get bathed by UV, crop failures worldwide, animals dying out, forests dying out? Very bleak, very bleak. I must admit, the key problem here is the failure of FOIA policies and the whole control dynamics of the CCP. Throw off the CCP. Get rid of them. Go with ROC. And you will have great prosperity. You'll definitely see. All right. Although the chances for this are slim. Many of my viewers are always saying, Greg, it never happened. The chances are slim. Who's going to watch this? Guys, if there's a 1 in 3.4 billion chance that this will succeed, it's worth my time and effort. If we can avert a nuclear confrontation, it's worth my time and effort. Like I said, there's beautiful people over there in China. There's beautiful people here. There's beautiful people in the Congo. The pygmies, they're extremely beautiful. I love their music. Why should they freeze and starve because of us? Why should the Native Americans in the Amazonian jungles freeze and starve because of us? The U.S. and China. But, you know, what gives China the right to take another people? Nothing. But how the West sees it is, if you take Taiwan, then you've got this great jumping off point. We saw this with Hitler in World War II. This is the lessons we learned. You let them get started, they just keep taking more and more. Japan in World War II, Hitler in World War II. They grab one, they grab another. So we didn't do anything when Hong Kong was taken. And that was the problem. Now you suddenly feel far more emboldened to take Taiwan. Now we're seeing this. It's starting to click. Cling, cling, cling. People are seeing this. They're thinking. And if the United States does nothing at all, when you take Taiwan, there's Japan. There's Australia. Oh yeah. France and Great Britain. NATO nations are sending their ships over there in the South China Sea now. You got Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines. Now, each one is a pretty small, puny country, but altogether, working with Taiwan, they might at least thwart an invasion. It'll make it far more costly. And you got all those little emperor sons, single sons, to defend your country. The mamas there are not going to be happy if they're coming back with CCP flags over their coffins. Yeah, so I think they could do the regime in too. So, Xi Jinping, if you really have a change of heart, then you really need to make it real. I mean, really real. Not just window dressing and wallpaper. Deep fundamental change, like the ones that Who started. The guy that everybody was celebrating in Tiananmen Square after he passed away, 15th of April in 1989. Maybe you should follow his footsteps. That might be the answer. So there's still hope. It's not all gone, but it's getting really dicey. And that's why the rest of us in the world should prepare for the days of nuclear winter when things get icy. Let's hope it don't come. A lot of heat before that ice. A lot of glass. Heat, fire, and rubble. We don't need that. Okay, I'm yammered on enough. But I'm just trying to drive the point home. That's all. Forgive me for that, but sometimes you just got to make a point. I wish everybody the very best. Peace and prosperity. That's the hope. Just remember this always. Light dispels darkness, love dispels hate. A lot of people are attacking folks of Asian descent around the world, especially in America. Don't do that. That's not right. You're just increasing the hate. You don't know who those people are. They may be from Taiwan. They may be somebody that's all against the CCP. And if they're a member of the CCP, their heart might be questioning where they're at, or maybe it will down the road. But whatever the case is, two wrongs don't make a right. Don't be attacking people based on race. Don't ever do that. That is ugly. It's not right. Don't be doing it. Don't do it. Let's hear something I'll tell you. As light dispels dark, love dispels hate. That's what we need in this world. So go out and shine your love light into this world. That's the best way that any of us can affect change in this world. Well, I'm going to say, thank you for watching.